It's 2:10 p.m. in the Caribbean Sea, a routine patrol mission. Clear skies, calm waters. Then 4 blips appear on radar, moving at 1,200 meters per second, locked on target. The crew has 20 minutes to survive what's about to become the most sophisticated combat engagement in modern naval warfare. 50 kilometers above Earth, a satellite captures something that makes analysts freeze. Venezuela's La Orquilla Air Base, 2 Su-30 fighter jets being armed, not with training equipment, with live KH-31 anti-ship missiles. Weapons designed specifically to destroy American warships. The KH-11 reconnaissance satellite sees everything. License plates from orbit, engine heat signatures, even the technicians loading ordnance onto wing pylons. And what it sees sends an immediate alert through military channels. Venezuela is preparing to cross a line. Down below, cutting through azure Caribbean waters, the USS Thomas Hudner maintains course. This Arleigh Burke-class destroyer isn't just a ship. It's a $2 billion technological fortress. The Aegis combat system at its core represents decades of American military innovation. Hundreds of sailors, millions of lines of code, thousands of training hours, all about to be tested. The mission was labeled routine. Freedom of navigation patrol, standard procedure. The kind of operation the Navy conducts hundreds of times per year without incident. But routine doesn't mean unprepared. 500 kilometers away, an E-2D Hawkeye early warning aircraft orbits. Its radar dish rotates continuously, watching, waiting. At 14:10 hours, the Hawkeye crew spots them. 2 contacts lifting off from La Orquilla. Flight path analyzed, vector calculated, threat assessment complete. The radio crackles with coded messages. The destroyer's Combat Information Center receives the data stream. Hostile aircraft. Attack formation. Direct intercept course. The clock starts. 20 minutes until potential engagement. 20 minutes that will prove whether Venezuela's gambit was brilliance or suicide. Deep in the Hudner's hull, the Combat Information Center hums with energy. Banks of screens display data from dozens of sensors. The AN-SPY 1D radar system sweeps the sky with invisible waves, creating a bubble of awareness extending hundreds of kilometers in every direction. Nothing enters that bubble without being seen, tracked, and analyzed. 2 hostile contacts appear on screen. Low-altitude approach, high speed, radio silent. Their IFF transponders dark, no friendly identification signals. The SLQ-32 electronic warfare system begins dissecting electromagnetic signatures, reading the digital fingerprints of every electronic system aboard those approaching aircraft. The combat information officer's voice cuts through the ambient noise. Identity confirmed. 2 Venezuelan Su-30s bearing 092, distance 50 miles. ESSM confirms KH-31P anti-ship missiles. The Su-30 isn't some outdated Cold War relic. This is a 4.5 generation fighter jet. Twin AL-31FB engines capable of maneuvers that break the laws of physics as most people understand them. Thrust vectoring, super maneuverability, air superiority design refined over decades. Russia built these aircraft to challenge American air dominance, but it's not the fighters that trigger the next level of alert. It's what hangs beneath their wings. KH-31P missiles, each one nearly 5 meters long, each one capable of Mach 3.5, each one equipped with sea skimming capability designed to evade radar detection until the last possible moment. These weapons were engineered with one purpose: kill American warships. The tactical display updates every second. Distance decreasing, speed increasing, attack vectors optimizing. The Venezuelan pilots know exactly what they're doing. This isn't amateur hour. This is professional aggression backed by Russian technology and training. Inside the CIC, trained hands move across keyboards. The Aegis system runs combat simulations at machine speed, calculating trajectories, predicting attack profiles, preparing countermeasures. Every sailor knows their role. Every system checks green. Every weapon is ready. Then the moment arrives. Vampire. Vampire. The code word every naval crew dreads. Enemy anti-ship missiles inbound. On the tactical display, 2 new contacts separate from the Su-30s. Their icons flash hostile red. Acceleration detected. Target lock confirmed. 2 Russian-made missiles hurtling toward the destroyer at velocities that make sound itself seem slow. The bridge erupts into controlled chaos, not panic. Pure professional intensity. Orders snap back and forth. Systems activate in sequence. The entire ship transforms from patrol mode to combat mode in seconds. This is what billions of dollars in training produces. Precision under pressure. The KH-31 missiles drop to wave-skimming altitude. barely 10 meters above the ocean surface, their radar cross-section minimized, their approach angle optimized to exploit gaps in detection coverage. Venezuelan commanders planned this attack carefully. They studied American defense systems. They identified weaknesses. They believed surprise would give them the advantage. They were wrong. The Aegis system tracked those Su-30s from the moment they started their takeoff roll. Every movement cataloged, every tactic anticipated. By the time those missiles launched, the Hudner already had solutions prepared. Not one solution, multiple solutions. Layered defenses, redundant systems. The American approach to naval warfare doesn't rely on single points of success. It relies on overwhelming technological superiority executed with machine precision. But Venezuela crossed the line. This wasn't posturing. This was an act of war, a calculated provocation in international waters designed to humiliate American naval power. To prove that smaller nations with Russian weapons could challenge American supremacy, the question wasn't whether the Hudner would survive. The question was how Venezuela would learn their lesson. The USS Thomas Hudner didn't fire a shot. Not immediately. Instead, something more sophisticated happened. The SLQ-32 electronic warfare suite activated. Arrays of antennas and transmitters began broadcasting. Not randomly. With surgical precision, the system detected active radar signals from the approaching missiles, the electronic eyes guiding them toward their target. Then it did something extraordinary. It captured those signals, analyzed them in microseconds, manipulated them, and reflected them back, carrying false information. The real destroyer began to disappear. Not physically, electronically. The missile's seekers started seeing ghost images, false returns. Phantom targets displaced from the ship's actual location. Simultaneously, the Mark 36 Azerbach system erupted. Chaff launchers fired. The sky filled with clouds of metallic strips, each strip precisely cut to reflect radar at specific frequencies, creating massive false returns that bloomed across enemy sensors like digital fireworks. Flares launched next, high-temperature decoys burning white-hot, generating thermal signatures bright enough to blind infrared seekers. The electromagnetic spectrum became a battlefield. Invisible to human eyes but absolutely critical to missile guidance systems, one KH-31 missile lost lock immediately. Its seeker, overwhelmed by false targets, locked onto empty water. The weapon dove toward where it thought the destroyer was positioned, toward a ghost. It impacted the ocean surface kilometers away from its intended victim. A $4 million missile defeated by electronic trickery, zero ammunition expended, but the second missile proved smarter, more resilient. Its programming included countermeasures, algorithms designed to filter false signals. It pushed through the electronic jamming. Though the effort burned nearly 20% of its fuel reserves, the weapon emerged damaged, confused, degraded, but still tracking. Still deadly, 5 seconds to impact. 30 kilometers out and closing at Mach 3.5, modern naval warfare isn't about who shoots first. It's about who controls information. The side that sees farther, thinks faster, and acts with precision doesn't just win. They dominate completely. The engagement unfolding around the Hudner demonstrated this principle with brutal clarity. The Aegis combat system wasn't designed to fight battles. It was designed to win them before they start. Every sensor feeds data into a central combat computer. Every piece of information gets correlated, analyzed, and prioritized in real time. Threats are identified, tracked, and engaged with a speed that human reflexes cannot match. The second KH-31 entered the engagement envelope of the destroyer's kinetic defenses. Electronic warfare had degraded it. Now physics would finish the job. In the Mk-41 vertical launch system on the forward deck, a standard Missile 6 received its firing solution. Target data, intercept trajectory, optimal engagement altitude, all calculated in microseconds. The Mk-41 hatch blew open. The SM-6 rocketed skyward on a pillar of smoke and flame. This $4 million interceptor represented the cutting edge of American missile defense technology, capable of altitudes exceeding 30 kilometers, capable of speeds exceeding Mach 3.5, capable of autonomous target acquisition if data link is severed. The missile climbed, then pitched over into a diving attack profile. Hunter and prey, both supersonic, both committed to their trajectories, racing toward collision at combined velocities exceeding 2,400 meters per second. At 20 kilometers from the ship, they met. The collision was apocalyptic. Both missiles vaporized in a violent explosion. Metal superheated into plasma. Components scattered across the sky in a rapidly expanding debris cloud. The threat was neutralized. The ship was safe. For most nations, 2 failed missiles would signal retreat. Time to reconsider. Time to disengage before losses escalate. But Venezuelan commanders made a different choice. They doubled down, taking advantage of the chaos, the electronic jamming, the explosive debris, the momentary distraction. The 2 Su-30s launched their remaining payload. 2 more Kh-31 missiles dropped from wing pylons. Engines ignited. Acceleration began. This was tactical cunning. The second wave exploited the gap created by the first engagement. They slipped through long-range defenses while the Aegis system was tracking debris from the destroyed missiles. By the time new threat warnings triggered, these missiles were already inside the SM-6 minimum engagement range, 6 kilometers out. Impact in less than 12 seconds, no time for another long-range intercept. They were entering the kill zone of the medium-range defenses. The evolved Sea Sparrow missile system, different VLS cells opened. But instead of large single missiles, each cell contained 4 ESSM, compact, efficient, lethal. 4 missiles launched almost simultaneously. Their exhaust trails drew white arcs across Caribbean blue sky. The ESSM represents engineering brilliance. Capable of Mach 4 speeds, capable of 50G maneuvers thanks to thrust vectoring. Semi-active radar guidance with mid-course update capability. Each missile operates with frightening autonomy, making split-second decisions, adjusting trajectories, hunting targets with machine determination. 1 ESSM locked the 3rd Kh-31. The Venezuelan missile attempted evasive maneuvers, programmed jinking patterns designed to break radar lock. But the ESSM matched every movement, guidance fins responding thousands of times per second. The interception was surgical, a direct hit that vaporized the threat in a shockwave explosion visible from the destroyer's deck. The 4th Kh-31 took a hit from another ESSM, but this engagement was messier. The Venezuelan missile's seeker and guidance systems were destroyed. The warhead detonated partially, but 500 kilograms of metal, fuel, and explosive remained intact, tumbling toward the ship at ballistic velocity. No longer a guided weapon, just a very dangerous piece of debris following physics and gravity. Kilometers out. 5 seconds to impact. When every sophisticated system has done its job, but one threat remains, the U.S. Navy has one final answer. The last line of defense. The close-in weapons system, CIWS. Sailors call it the goalkeeper. The thing that stops what nothing else can. The CIWS is brutally simple in concept. Devastatingly effective in execution, a radar-guided Gatling gun designed to physically destroy incoming threats through sheer volume of fire. No fancy electronics. No complex guidance algorithms, just raw kinetic energy delivered with machine precision. The system's independent 2-band radar locked the tumbling wreckage. Tracking algorithms calculated velocity, trajectory, impact point. The fire control computer ran its solution. Optimal engagement range, optimal burst length, optimal aim point. Then the 6-barrel M61 Vulcan opened fire, 1,500 rounds per minute, 75 rounds every second. The sound is unmistakable. A mechanical roar like industrial machinery combined with thunder. Not explosive shells. Solid tungsten armor-piercing bullets, each one designed for a single purpose. Destroy whatever it touches. The stream of tungsten tore into the disabled Kh-31, shredding metal, fragmenting components, breaking the warhead into progressively smaller pieces. What had been a 500-kilogram guided missile became a cloud of harmless debris. Metal fragments scattered across the ocean surface. Splashing down hundreds of meters from the ship, silence fell over the Combat Information Center. Not complete silence. The ambient hum of electronics. The ventilation system. The soft clicking of keyboards. But the tactical displays, which moments ago had been filled with hostile icons and crossing missile trajectories, were now blank. Clear. No threats. No contacts. No danger. 4 modern Russian-made anti-ship missiles. The pride of Venezuela's military arsenal. Weapons that cost millions of dollars each. Weapons that required years of training to employ. Weapons designed specifically to sink American warships. Now nothing more than wreckage on the Caribbean seafloor. The 2 Su-30s, perhaps finally understanding the magnitude of their failure, turned and fled. Full afterburner, maximum speed, racing back toward Venezuelan airspace. The Hudner's weapons systems tracked them the entire way. Could have engaged. Could have destroyed them. But didn't. The message had already been sent. Total engagement time. 90 seconds. Damage to USS Thomas Hudner, 0. Casualties, 0. Cost to Venezuela, 4 missiles. National humiliation. International embarrassment. This wasn't just a successful defense, it was a demonstration. A carefully controlled exhibition of what happens when second-tier military powers challenge American naval supremacy in international waters. The message received in Caracas was crystal clear. This wasn't a battle. It was a massacre. Every attack was anticipated. Every missile defeated. Every tactic countered. The technology gap wasn't just significant. It was insurmountable. Venezuelan commanders planned their operation carefully. They chose their weapons wisely. They executed their tactics professionally. And they failed completely. But technology alone didn't win this engagement. The sailors aboard the Hudner executed their duties with cold professionalism that comes only from tens of thousands of hours of training and simulation. Every button press, every command, every decision. Textbook perfect. Human excellence amplifying machine capability. As the destroyer continued its patrol and the Caribbean returned to calm, military analysts worldwide studied the engagement with intense interest. Defense ministries requested briefings, naval academies updated curriculum. The lessons were profound and immediately applicable. Modern naval warfare is a chess match played at supersonic speeds. Every move must be anticipated, every counter-move prepared in advance. Those who control information, who can see farther, think faster, and act with precision, don't just win. They dominate completely. Venezuela's Su-30s and KH-31 missiles weren't obsolete weapons. They were modern, capable systems that would pose serious threats to most naval forces worldwide. Against 90% of the world's navies, this attack might have succeeded. But against the layered, integrated defenses of an Aegis-equipped destroyer, supported by airborne early warning and connected to America's global sensor network, they never stood a chance. The engagement proved something military theorists have long suspected. In 21st century warfare, never challenge those who wrote the rules of the game. Never test defenses designed by the same people who designed the threats. Never assume that courage and determination can overcome overwhelming technological superiority. The USS Thomas Hudner sailed on. Its crew already drilling for the next potential threat, ready to prove the lesson again if necessary. The Caribbean waves washed over the scattered debris. The sky returned to peaceful blue, and the world had witnessed what happens when provocation meets preparation. 5 layers of defense. 4 missiles defeated, 1 stunning victory, and a message that echoed far beyond the Caribbean. American naval power isn't just about having the biggest guns or the most ships. It's about having every answer to every threat, executed with machine precision and human excellence. This wasn't war. This was a masterclass. Watch what happens when Russia's best technology meets America's defenses next.